Happy New Year! Welcome back to the channel. Can you believe it's already midway through January 2025? And yet still, I feel like I am not ready for this new year. Now, I don't know about you, but I feel like I am dragging unfinished projects from 2024 behind me like a big blue IKEA bag full of cinder blocks weighing heavy on me. Mentally, emotionally, and even financially. I'm trying to gain momentum, but it feels like I am stuck in wet sand with no bones in my feet, just unable to get a solid grip on anything. I've always prided myself on being a super achiever, super organized, having it all together, but that's not the case right now. I don't know if it's age, I don't know if it's the times, I don't know if I was doing that because it would make me look good for others, and to be honest, I guess it's a bit of all of that. I do know that not being organized doesn't work for me. Like, I need to have all of my systems in place, and right now they're in disarray. It feels like I am just not functioning at my highest potential. For instance, I haven't tracked my auditions or my finances in 4 years. I didn't send any marketing materials to casting directors last year. I haven't been working out consistently, so my body feels weak. And the pangs of aging and menopause are making their presence known. My diet, a sugar-filled comfort zone of pastries, which is definitely showing up in my waistline. And I haven't been getting enough sleep, not enough rest. So I'm always tired, fatigued, really. And that exhaustion, it bleeds into everything. Like, it affects my productivity, my creativity, my focus. I try to do 10 things at once, and I get none of them finished. Now, it used to take me, 8 to 12 hours just to work on a few things and get them done. Now it takes me all day to try to get one thing done. And then there's the clutter. It feels like the walls in my home are closing in on me and suffocating my creativity and my willpower. It's all connected to the lack of organization, the physical clutter, the mental overwhelm. It's no wonder why I feel stuck. I can't just blame myself though. This all didn't happen in a vacuum. These past 5 years have been a lot. The pandemic, the 100-day writer-actor strike, the constant political unrest, wars on humanity, the devastation of homes lost to fires. It's all been vampiric, psychologically, emotionally, physically. It's just back-to-back disorientation has me eating my emotions and feeling disenchanted with this world. And in my last video, I talked about quitting. I quit in my head many times over and over, but I'm not going to because I love acting way too much. But I know that something has got to change. If I'm going to keep going like this, I'm bound to have a nervous breakdown. Or worse, I risk losing everything I built over the past 20 years of my career. And I've come way too far to let that happen. So let's pause for a moment. How are you feeling? I wish we could have a real dialogue here. But even though we're not in the same room, you can still answer that question for yourself. You could pause this video, take a deep breath and reflect, or better yet, grab your journal and write it down, because we got to get this stuff out of us. And I know I'm not the only one feeling this way, because I've had countless conversations with my other actor friends who share the same sentiments. The hardest part for me is knowing that I haven't been operating at my highest potential for the past 5 years. There's guilt, judgment, shame, all wrapped up in this cycle of exhaustion. Underperforming, poor habits, staying in unfulfilling situations. I've complained more than I even knew that I could, feeling hopeless. But there is one thing that I refuse to do is give up. No matter how heavy things feel, I am a perpetual optimist. Even in this gloom, I'm always looking for that silver lining. And I found it. That silver thread peeking through all of this mess is reminding me that I still have a choice. I don't have to stay in this situation of despair. I don't have to carry these feelings with me any longer. That's my wake-up call, and it's time to reset. Reset my life, reset my acting career, because 2025 can't see me like this. I can't afford to have another year of this mess. Now, I don't believe in New Year's resolutions, but I do believe in setting intentions. And if I haven't buried the lead too deeply, that's what this video is all about. A reset. Now, this isn't some grand dramatic moment. It's a quiet decision born out of exhaustion. Exhaustion from the chaos of the world and the chaos that I've allowed in my own life. It's a reset rooted in reflection, honesty, and a desire to step into something better. In order to reset, I had to look back and review 2024 so I can move ahead with a clear mind. And I asked myself 4 simple questions. What worked? What didn't work? What were my wins and losses? And how do I want to experience 2025? And those questions led to a few days of deep reflection, reading through my calendar, revisiting the notes in my bullet journal, and processing my thoughts during long walks. And that's probably why it's taken me until mid-January to share this video, because I needed to take my time to figure this out. So here's how I answered those questions, starting with 3 things that worked. Back to the art form. I had been frustrated with the bureaucracy of being an actor for several years. And since I didn't have a theatrical agent for 2 of those years, it was a perfect time for me to take a sabbatical. Now, in my early days, I would not have had the courage to take the time off, afraid that I was going to miss opportunities. But now that I know that the things that are meant for me won't miss me, I took a sabbatical. Not for commercials, although I did book out 2 months from commercials. I got back to the art form. My love of storytelling, consuming films, experimental theater, music, design. I went to LACMA, the Getty, the Academy Museum. I watched art films like 3,000 Years of Longing with Tilda Swinton and Idris Elba, Swan Song with Mahershala Ali. I really like his choices. Like, he's the artist who's inspiring me the most these days, because he's like of Hollywood, but he's not in it, or in Hollywood, but not of it. That's it. I read books like Fame, The Hijacking of Reality by Justine Bateman, which is a raw and honest account of her celebrity experience as a teen, then how she fell from grace, then how she rediscovered herself all over again. And I just started watching weird little short films on Vimeo and Amuleto on YouTube. I spent less time with industry-obsessed actors because I needed to be around real people. I didn't want to talk about my agent isn't getting me out and blah, blah, blah. This was a rekindling of my love for storytelling, and it showed me it was time for expansion and to redefine what success means for me today. The second thing that worked for me was I had to stop playing nice. So in 2024, I experienced 3 moments where I stood firm in my self-worth by advocating for myself. Now, I tend to lead with kindness, but kindness gets misconstrued with niceness, and in Hollywood, niceness can be viewed as weakness. And all those little predatory industry folks view weakness as a welcome mat to cross boundaries in any way they can and every chance that they can get. So the first moment I experienced was walking away from a production after discovering the producer was trying to turn a staged reading into a documentary. She was trying to bring cameras in to film us during a staged reading to use the footage for a documentary. Excuse me? Nah. The second event was me having to call out a director for unwarranted, rude, and dismissive behavior towards me on set. Then she's gonna try to hit me with the email like nothing happened so she can get something from me, trying to tell me how great I was on set. No, miss, you were rude. I saw you, I'm calling you out. Don't play with me. In corporate speak, of course. The third was declining to participate in the film festival's red carpet when the actor, writer, producer demanded that the cast agree to these restrictive terms via an email contract. Now, she probably didn't know that I know that emails are binding contracts. So I had to say, no, I'm not agreeing to these terms, and I don't need to be on your red carpet, not with you or your film. And you know what? That was a huge moment of growth for me because 1, I chose me over pleasing this creative. 2, I protected my freedom of speech. And 3, I didn't fall for this dangling carrot of being photographed for a major film festival. I know there will be other film festival opportunities with more honorable filmmakers. The third thing that worked for me were all 3 of these independent projects called for more discernment on my part, more consideration, more questions I needed to ask. And truth be told, there's really no full way to vet a project thoroughly enough, but there are signs. So I created a When to Say Yes guidebook to help me evaluate every opportunity to determine if it's right for me. Now here's what didn't work. My accountant's terms. After almost 10 years with the same accountant, I decided I no longer wanted to share full access to my business accounts and my passwords. It felt intrusive. And in a time where too many artists are being robbed by their accountants, Steve Harvey being one of them, while I'm not a millionaire today, I just preferred to send my monthly statements instead. But they insisted all or nothing. I chose nothing, and I terminated our relationship. The second one, saying goodbye to fraudulent friendships. In Hollywood, losing friends is an unfortunate norm. I talk about friendships in my podcast, Acting Lessons Learned, episode number 133, The Harsh Reality of Hollywood's Faux and Fractured Friendships. I've learned to recognize the fair weather friends versus the real genuine friends. And I hate to admit it, but I've become really skilled at walking away from disingenuine friendships. I simply just don't have the space for the nonsense, for the duplicity, for the deceit, for the drama. In 2024, I let 3 faux friends go. And the hardest goodbye was I made a decision to end my 12-year tenure with my choir and my spiritual center. That was a hard one. I realized I was holding on to something that used to be, and it wasn't what it is now. And when I signed up then, that's what I signed up for. So the true gift is in knowing when it's time to walk away, and nothing lasts forever. Now let's talk about wins and losses. I got a new agent. Who dis? I had a multitude of wins in 2024. And speaking of friends, I have a new theatrical friend thanks to a referral from my New York to LA friend, Tiffany. Thanks, Tiffany. And after a couple of meetings, I signed and I booked my first co-star in 4 years, which leads us into my audition to booking ratio. So theatrically, I had 12 auditions. I booked the 1 co-star. And while those numbers may seem unimpressive, we're just getting started, and I appreciate how we communicate with each other, and I appreciate the quality of opportunities that they've been giving me so far. Now, commercially, I had 54 auditions, 9 callbacks, and 2 bookings, which were shockingly low. So after auditing previous year auditions, I found 2 major contributors. 1, the state of commercials has taken a turn, thanks to social media, sure, and non-union too, but mostly social media. And 2, the casting office that I've booked the most work out of hasn't brought me in to audition in over 2 years, which is around the time that I signed with my commercial agent. And I brought it to their attention. Their response was for me to peek my head into the CD's office the next time I'm there. Well, if I don't get an audition there, how can I peek my head in? Needless to say, my next video is going to be the agent audit, how I review the progress of agents. And this is a good time to subscribe to this channel, click the notification bell so that you can be notified when I drop that video. And a big win, I won $33,000 on Let's Make a Deal. I don't think that needs any further exposition except to say it was a life changer that helped me pay off 3 credit cards, and I was able to fully fund my Roth IRA. Now the losses. I'd say my opening monologue of this video talks about some of the losses I experienced in 2024, but here are 2 more. Self-tapes. So due to my aforementioned feelings, I was turning in self-tapes at the last minute. 5 to 10 minutes before they were due. Possibly the reason for my audition to booking ratio. Now, I'm going to stop doing that in 2025, but I got to get organized sooner than later so that I can make that faster turnaround of my self-tapes happen. Last minute preparation leaves no margins for error, which makes things stressful, and it possibly shows up in my performances. And now that I finally have my self-tape systems dialed in, turning in those auditions should be much easier. Oddly, the 1 theatrical booking I had was a last-minute self-tape. I got that in 1 minute before it was due. But I'm not going to fool myself into believing that last minute works. I'm sure my late submissions and lack of focus affected my self-tapes and overall output, so I'm going to do better at that. Also, marketing. Because I was on a sabbatical, I didn't send any email campaigns. And in the past, every time I send an email campaign, I get a new opportunity by form of audition or something along those lines. And they also help my agents with their submissions. My agent sends a submission, I send a mailer. That's 2 ways that this casting director may see that they should consider bringing me in. So what's next for 2025? rebuilding my organizational systems. I'm going to do this one step at a time. I'm going to start with my finance tracking by setting up a simple monthly check-in to track every expense, invoice, and deposit. Audition logs. So I'm going to create a Notion spreadsheet to record every audition, callback, and booking. That way, I'm hoping to be able to spot patterns of who's calling me in and to figure out what's working. And if you'd like to see a video on that, just type track in the comments and I'll make a video. Also, I'm going to focus on physical clutter. Each week, I'm going to tackle one area of my home or one bin of paperwork. No giant overhaul, just like small consistent steps to create breathing room. Prioritize self-care and boundaries, starting with sleep and nutrition. So I'm aiming to get 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night. My Fitbit says I'm only getting 6 hours, and that's possibly why I'm always tired. And it's time for me to also curb the sugar habit. I'm going to come back to marketing. I will do a bi-monthly email campaign where I'll share my bookings, any self-produced projects, any updates with casting directors and the producers that are in my industry contacts. And I plan to make a video on how I use MailChimp to promote myself. So overall, I'm going to be focusing on organization, keeping my energy up, recommitting to the love that I have for acting, as opposed to letting the bureaucracy of this industry get me frustrated. So that is my 2024 year in review and my 2025 reset. I'm offering my When to Say Yes workbook. It's a free PDF download for the first 25 people who want to sign up, who would like to receive it. And after that, it'll be $10. I'll leave a link to it in the description so you can grab that while you can. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, and hit that notification button so you don't miss any of my upcoming videos. Because up next is the Agent Audit, a progress report where I share exactly how I'm evaluating my commercial agent's performance. And in the meantime, be sure to check out my podcast, Acting Lessons Learned, available where you listen to podcasts. And let's make 2025 the year of reset. Let's step back into feeling good, reclaiming our passion, both in our life and our craft. Until next time, keep striving, keep choosing yourself, and remember, you have the right to say no. Full stop. Thanks for watching, and here are a few other videos on the screen for you to check out. Bye-bye.